Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com. I'm Eric Allgood. We have got a big, huge takedown type of show for you with state wrestling on the eve, and it's ready to go up in Omaha as of tomorrow morning. We are all in for state wrestling. We've got a wrestling, not just a wrestling-centric, but we have a wrestling-only type show for you tonight. Tony Chapman is with us in Grand Island, and as they say, Tony, it is about to go down.
Yeah, it's going to be a big weekend, Eric, with state wrestling coming up. As you said, it starts tomorrow, CenturyLink Center, Omaha. It'll run through Saturday, basically in the early evening. And, I'm a basketball guy, but I would contend that state wrestling semifinal Friday is one of the most electric atmospheres the NSA has for any event across the state championships. And then the Walk of Champions on Saturday afternoon is about as special as it gets. So it should be a really fun weekend, and we got a great lineup tonight. Kind of here to set the table for you, if you will. Ross Halford is on the line with us from HuskerMat.com, and he will join us with his thoughts. You had an interview with David City coach Tahner Theim that will play a little bit later, and then live on our show at the end will be undefeated Central City wrestler Jeremiah Dickinson in his quest for a state championship. So it should be a fun show.
And right before we bring in Ross, we want to give you an update here. Taylor's got a really interesting T-shirt giveaway, if you will, tonight, and we're doing it through Snapchat. So there's our Snapchat logo there. If you take a Snapchat of you watching Prep Huddle Live, you might be on your laptop, you might have the Chromecast or the Apple TV maybe that you're watching it on the big screen. Take a Snapchat of you watching the show tonight and then send it to us at Strive TV. And if you're already a follower, hey, we're already there. And if you need to follow us on Snapchat, go ahead and screenshot that now and add us in there. And then take a Snapchat of yourself watching Prep Huddle Live, and then snap it to us, and we'll put you in the drawing for a T-shirt that we'll be giving away at the end of the night. And now we are going to bring in Ross Halford of HuskerMat.com. And Ross, this is the fun time of the year. You know, we wrestlers themselves spend so much of the time getting ready for this week, and we take one final big deep breath on Wednesday night and ready to go in Omaha tomorrow morning.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the culmination of not just a couple months' worth of work for these kids, but, like so many other high school sports now, many of these kids specialize. So, this is just the end of one season, and, within a couple weeks here, they'll be into the quote-unquote off-season as well, and actually, getting prepared for a run next season. Very rare anymore that you have wrestlers that can be on top of the medal stand on Saturday when they only wrestle and compete for a few months out of the year. It just doesn't happen anymore. Kids are too talented. Like you said, they put in too much work. And so, it raises the level of our state and the kids. And I think you'll see that showcased throughout the next 3 days.
Ross, as we get ready we were getting ready for this week, and districts, of course, wrapped up on Saturday. We started going through the brackets of each class, A, B, C, and D, and I think we ended up with a single-space document of just kids at Strive schools that is somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 or almost 6 pages worth of kids. But in Class C, as far as Strive kids are concerned, we've got 3 that are undefeated going to state. And so I want to get your thoughts as the Class C always seems to be, no matter what the weight class, is pretty loaded, and it is again this year. But we've got 3 of them with a chance to go undefeated on a season, and that doesn't happen very often. But you've got Evan Waddington at Wood River, Wyatt Phillips at David City, and Jeremiah Dickinson, who we'll talk to later tonight, of Central City. If you were picking horses, I guess as it might be, do you see any one of those 3 that has maybe a best chance to come out of Omaha with a gold medal?
Yeah, I think Wyatt Phillips out of David City. I have a feature on the site that I update multiple times during the year, and it's called the Big Board. And essentially, it's a list of the top 12 pound-for-pound wrestlers in the state. And out of those 3 you listed, Wyatt Phillips is actually on my Big Board. Now, he missed about a month of his senior year this year. Had a bit of an injury that he got up at Valentine right before Christmas, but he came back a few weeks ago and looked like he didn't miss a beat. He he's just flat awesome. I mean, you watch him up close and what he can do. He's a complete wrestler, certainly a prohibitive favorite. He's a returning state champ from last year, won Class C 120. And if he didn't win state for David City, it would be a significant upset as well. He's just a super talented kid, and he's a lot of fun to watch wrestle. He puts up a lot of points on the scoreboard, so really a fan favorite. I'm a big fan of Wyatt Phillips. And the other two, Evan Waddington, he's a freshman, coach's son out from Wood River, and what a sparkling record he has, 51-0, coming into state tournament as a freshman. He'll have defending state champion Jordan Kelber of Valentine probably in the semifinals, and he actually pinned Kelber earlier this year, so he would likely be favored in that match, although anything can happen down here at state. And then potentially, if you look towards Saturday, big matchup against Class B returning state champion Max Hughes out of Syracuse, who's dropped down to Class C this year. So, it won't be easy for him. He's got to go through two returning state champs in order to get to the top of the medal stand. But again, very capable, obviously a skilled kid. And you mentioned Jeremiah Dickinson, senior out of Central City. I've had him number one all year. He got second last year, so I think that, he'll be very motivated to win this. But my feature I put up earlier on the site, I mentioned that his road to the state title is very, very difficult. So he's going to have to be on top of his game from start of the tournament. He'll have a returning state medalist right off the bat, and then it just goes right through it. And Gilliland from Mitchell quarterfinals, and then probably Helgoth of Aquinas, and so he's got a very tough road. It won't be easy for him.
Ross, if you look at it, I know you just kind of talked about your big board. We'll probably hear about some more guys off this next question, but is there a wrestler in each class maybe that you kind of look at as somebody everybody should kind of drop what they're doing and watch this guy? Maybe if you could run down in each of the four classes, maybe kind of your favorite wrestler, somebody you really enjoy watching from each of the classes.
Well, I think in Class A, maybe a two-horse race at the top. I mean, you've got Isaac Deloa out of Millard South, and he is the only wrestler in the field this year that will be going for his fourth state title as well at 138. But again, interesting enough, you would think, well, he's a senior going for 4 state titles, cakewalk, that type of thing. But I think he lands in the state finals in the premier match of the state tournament. And one of the bigger matches I think that's happened in some years, and that a potential match against John Killingsworth out of Lincoln Southeast, who's another returning state champion, won it at the class below Deloa last year, and he's also unbeaten, and those two have been on a collision course all year long. So anytime that you have the stakes that high where a kid's looking for his fourth state title and there's a roadblock in a way, and I mean a serious roadblock. This Killingsworth is no joke. He's not intimidated by Isaac Deloa, and more than likely they'll save that match and set it up so that's the final match of the state tournament. And I expect fireworks in that one. It's going to be a showdown. And I also really like Joe Harrison out of Omaha Burke at 106. But again, interesting enough, he's the only nationally rated wrestler from Nebraska this year. Very, very talented. He's a junior, and he has a huge semifinal match on Friday night, probably against Adam Kinnaman out of Lincoln Southeast. So both I think my two really great wrestlers in Class A have formidable challenges, and interesting enough, both from Lincoln Southeast. As far as Class B goes, I think, you look at Corbin Mink, the junior out of Skutt, Class B 120. He's a 2-time state champion, and he actually sits number one on my big board as well. He has one loss on the year, that out at a huge national tournament in Reno. He lost in the finals out in Nevada right before Christmas. And a kid that a year from now, you could be looking at a Division I level kid. And in Class C, Keep an eye on 195 Class C. I'm a big fan of Matt Kindler out of David City Aquinas. Has put together, I think, one of the most dominant seasons that any wrestler in this state has ever had. And I kind of tracked down some of his statistics and put them up on my feature tonight. But what he's done this year is just beyond phenomenal. He has, I think, 36 contested matches. I think 25 or 26 pins. All but one of the rest are tech falls. So he's only went the distance one match this year. And, watch him fast because he scores a lot of points. He's a lot of fun to watch. And then in Class B, probably Zemois Baptiste out of Friend, 160. He will go for his third state title, and he's one of the premier wrestlers in Nebraska. He signed with Iowa State, so he'll be a Cyclone next year. That's big time Division I wrestling, and certainly I think one of the better Class D wrestlers that the state has ever produced. So a lot of fun there at 160 Class D.
High praise there. And then I guess the next question, any class, is there a bracket that jumps out at you as far as this would be, a very tough one to win? I kind of put my amateur eye to it as I think I saw like maybe 6 or 7 previous medal winners in Class A 152. I don't know if that one caught your eye or not, but are there any classes and weights that you feel like are just going to be a death march, I guess, if you would say that?
Yeah, I do like 152A, primarily because Connor Fox out of Omaha Burke, who's the returning state champion, actually jumped up to that weight last week in districts. A little bit of a surprise. He had been 52, then dropped to 45, and now back up at 52. I think that led another wrestler from Burke into the state tournament at 45 as well. But, yeah, I think my two brackets that I'm really looking closely at, 120 Class A, as well. We've talked about this bracket all year long. Just throw out some of the names. Former state champion Wes Dawkins out of Lincoln High. Nate Rodriguez out of Millard South, who actually beat Dawkins last year. They will rematch in the quarterfinals. Rodriguez upset him last year in the quarterfinals. And Wes Dawkins, again, a big board guy and somebody that could end up at a Division I school, got that level of talent. But then you also throw in returning state champion Connor Locks out of Hastings, and then you've got a freshman out of Papillion La Vista right now who's just, dare I say, in fuego, this Creighton Bauman, who handed Rodriguez his only loss last week, also beat Locks during that same district as well. He was number 3 on my freshman list coming into the year. He is peaking at the right time. He's on kind of that other half of the bracket from the kind of the big 3 that we talked about. And I love 126 in Class B, very, very deep weight class as well. And this one, you won't have to wait until the quarterfinals or semifinals to see these matches. I thought during the season that there were about 10 rateable kids. And at one point, this weight was so tough that 2-time state runner-up Riley Berg out of West Point Beamer wasn't even in the rankings. I couldn't rate him. He had lost to some other top kids at this weight. And so it goes about 10 deep, and you'll see some first-round matchups there. And by the time we hit that quarterfinal round tomorrow as well, I think you'll have 8 kids there that are just outstanding. All of them deserve to be up on the medal stand. Unfortunately, there's only 6 spots for that, but it's going to be an absolute battle in there, including your quarterfinal match is my top-rated Jeff Hines out of Scott, and then number 2 Wybera out of Scottsbluff, who got beat in the district finals out west last week as well. So that'll be a 1 versus 2 quarterfinal match tomorrow in Class B.
Ross, I want to get your thoughts real quick on the team races a little bit. Starting with Class D, you've got Amherst, they're 6-time champs. You go to Class A, and Millard South has won 23 straight meets. You've got some heavy hitters team-wise, but it's always a little bit interesting when you get to state. You don't necessarily have the full teams. Some do. Maybe that's why Amherst is such a big favorite. But how do you see some of these team races stacking up?
Well, I did make my predictions last night as well and posted them up on the site, but definitely North-South, they look like, again, they'll repeat in Class A. Just too much depth. I mean, I don't think they'll score 250 state points like they have in some past years, but I think their depth is what separates them. And you look at Kearney, who just got some tough draws, and I think Columbus will be right there for runner-up. Class B, I think this is Omaha Scud once again, 12 down to Omaha, and just too much top-end firepower for Scud. They could put 6 or 7 in the state finals as well, and that would be very impressive for them. And in Class C, that should be a very tight team race, I think, but I have David City with 5 projected state champions, and if they do that, it's hard to imagine that Valentine could beat them. I think that they would have to at least keep pace and have Kelber get through to the finals and other kids as well. But I think that's going to be David City's unless they just stub their toe. And I think they very motivated team this year. And in Class D, yeah, it's Amherst depth and. If that's not enough, not only are they talented and have a lot of depth, but I'm sure that those kids, being that this is Coach Tyler Herman's last year, I'm coaching at Amherst. Of course, he took a administrative position at Kearney for next year, so this is kind of his swan song, and I'm sure they want to send him out on top, and so that should provide that extra motivation if they needed it at all, and they should be a prohibitive favorite in Class D.
That's a lot of good stuff, and I know, Ross, you've got a lot more on the website as well, huskermat.com. Give us a real quick synopsis. What all do you have on there that would be, especially for the person wanting to get the full preview for state and make sure they go to Omaha armed with as much knowledge as you've got?
Well, I mean, I leave up all my features throughout the entire year, whether that's the preseason information, team capsules, all of that, rankings and everything. And then as far as the state tournament goes, I do a bracket by bracket, match by match on the winner's side, predict the winners and eventual champions and team champions. And then I just put together a notebook tonight, and what that kind of does is go through some of these topics that we talked about, some things that, you want to watch for and look at, this week, top matches, top wrestlers to keep an eye on, and just kind of capsule those type of things. I do have a premium page, side of the website, which is what I reference. But with the subscription, even if you subscribe to Huskermat, today, your subscription is good through this year, next time, so you'd be covered for all of next season. So it's still, something that's viable if you're interested. And knowledge and information you're not going to find anywhere else in any other media outlet. So that's the coverage that I provide. So.
That's why we call in the experts for this time of year. Ross Halford of huskermat.com. Thanks so much for joining us, man. We'll catch you up this weekend.
All right. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Well, earlier this week, Tony Chapman had a fantastic article. Speaking of state wrestling, it's been a process actually for us here on Strive Sports, and Tony had a great article on Trey Mitty, and of course his dad Guy, who was a pillar in the wrestling community here in the state of Nebraska for so long. Tony, just give us a quick background, a little bit on the story. As you know, no doubt, it's almost always true that the best lessons we learn in life are those ones that we learn from a very young age, and that's definitely the case with Trey and his dad Guy.
Well, I think when your dad's a coach, your heroes are your dad's players, and then they kind of become, as you get older, maybe they kind of become your brothers or your friends. And so Trey kind of had that special relationship with all the wrestlers at Takema Herman High School, and was on a state championship team for his dad. And really the story is about how he took those lessons and took him with him into the real world, Eric. And he's created one of the top companies in Nebraska and in the region in truck center companies. He's in eight cities and 3 states. And I know we'll have a little interview with one of his general managers about kind of how they run their team and how they've used those lessons. And that's really what the story is about, is how high school sports and his dad kind of led him and helped him into the real world.
I did. I had a chance to visit with Dale Kavan of Truck Center Companies. He's the general manager at the Columbus location. Thanks for joining us here on Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com. We are here with Dale Kavan, general manager at Truck Center Companies in Columbus. Dale, I understand you had a pretty successful high school career in wrestling. How do you think wrestling, the sport itself, impacted your life after high school?
Well, Eric, as you know, wrestling takes a lot of dedication and discipline. I think those are two major takeaways that really drive home in my career. To be successful in anything takes drive and ambition, and wrestling in high school really helped me to focus becoming on the person I am today.
Tell me a little about your career with Truck Center Companies.
I started for Truck Center Companies in 2012. I was a truck sales specialist at our Norfolk, Nebraska location. I experienced quite a bit of success in that role, but I always knew I wanted more, and so I eventually worked my way up, and in July of 2015, I became the general manager here in Columbus, Nebraska.
I understand that your backstory and the backstory of your CEO at Truck Center Companies, Trey Mitty, are kind of similar, and it's such a unique aspect that wrestling and Truck Center Companies as a company have such a unique backstory with wrestling with that.
Yeah, Trey Mitty, the president and CEO of Truck Center Companies, has really deep roots in wrestling, as I do myself. We both have been in this sport since before we could walk. Tony did an interview with him and talks about how he started going to practice when he was 2, and that's kind of how I got into it. His dad was a wrestling coach for Takema for 23 years and had a lot of inspiration on a lot of kids, and Trey has really kept that spirit alive with since his father's passing here in 1993. Sponsoring the wrestling championships is really a passion for him, and I'm proud to work for this company with such dedication and loyalty to a sport like this. It says a lot about who we are.
What about the other employees at Truck Center Companies? Is there a lot of wrestlers in the company?
It's really amazing how many wrestlers there are, and a lot of them wrestled in high school. We even have some guys who wrestled in college. They're some of the most dedicated people there is. It takes a lot, and I think it goes beyond just wrestling. A lot of our employees played several sports. I think anytime you're involved in sports, whether it be football, baseball, or track, or any sport for that matter, to be good, it takes a high level of commitment, determination, and loyalty. And overall, I think that's what accounts for the success of myself and many of the employees here at Truck Center Companies.
Truck Center Companies and the state wrestling tournament, a very great partnership. Dale Kavan, the general manager at Truck Center Companies in their Columbus location. Thanks a lot for taking some time with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
The spirit to be a champion will lead you to success at Truck Center Companies. Dedication, hard work, loyalty. If you possess the qualities of a champion, we'd like to talk to you about scholarship opportunities and a career with us. Truck Center Companies, champions to the core.
Home-cooked favorites and online ordering so you can skip the line. That's what you'll find at Dickey's Barbecue in York. Log on to Dickeys.com, select the York address, sign in, or create a profile, and you'll be ordering delicious barbecue in just seconds. Choose from a variety of meats like brisket, pulled pork, chicken breast, or sausage. Add a home-style side like waffle iron fries, fried onion tanglers, barbecue beans, and even fried okra. You won't go away hungry. Try Dickey's Barbecue today and log on to Dickeys.com. Kids eat free on Sundays.
Yeah, I get it. For the little things. Technology's great. It makes things easier. It's faster. We can get things done wherever we go. And we get all that from our bank. It works for us. But for the bigger things, the things that really count, I still want to talk to the people I know and trust. That's why I'm here.
Seedsmanship is what truly sets Channel Seed apart from other seed brands. It's our unmatched ability to provide you with the expert advice and customized service that helps you get the most yield out of your acres. It's the added value of year-round service combined with elite seed products that you only get from Channel Seed. At Channel, we know the importance of staying connected. As seed experts, we look to get the most out of your fields by putting ourselves in them throughout the season. That's seedsmanship at work. Welcome back to Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com. Coming up next, I had a chance to talk with Tahner Theim, the head coach of David City. The Scouts have enjoyed a fantastic season. The coach talks about his 10 wrestlers that have qualified for state. My interview with Tahner Theim of the David City Wrestling Program. Joining us now on Prep Huddle Live, the head wrestling coach of the David City Scouts, Tahner Theim. And, Coach, first of all, congratulations. Boy, what a district tournament it had to be for you and the guys. 10 qualifiers are heading off to Omaha later on this week. But before the districts, you guys obviously have a lot of wrestling to do before that. So kind of take us through a little bit maybe of a couple of the highlights of the season as you got ready for that big district matchups.
You bet. We had a pretty solid season. We were able to keep guys healthy all year long. We started out with the York Invite, which has got some tough A, B teams, and really some solid teams and individuals across the board. And then actually won the York Invite, and then actually the next kind of highlight of the season, I guess, is we had the Butler County Triangular, which is always top teams here in Butler County with East Butler and Aquinas, and packed the house for that and won both duels there. And then recently we won conference for our 5th year in a row down in Superior with the Southern Nebraska Conference. And then also the day after that, we dueled Valentine up at the Devaney Center, and it was a back and forth battle, and we ended up beating them 39-30. So it's been a great season. We've been able to keep guys healthy. Unlike last year, it seemed like we were always just we never had our full lineup in until state duels last year. This year, we've been very fortunate as far as injuries and stuff go. Everything has been fairly minor, and guys have been hitting on all cylinders all season.
You mentioned wrestling against Valentine at the Devaney Center, and sometimes we talk about it in basketball terms when you get to play in a big gym and a big atmosphere. How does wrestling in a big atmosphere like that maybe translate to what you would hope is districts, and then obviously the biggest stage there at state?
You bet. Obviously, I mean, we have a lot of guys that go in and go to Rocky Mountain Nationals or go to the Midwest Classic and really wrestle in big tournaments year round, and kind of gives them that state feel. But then we do have a few guys in our lineup, and even some of our state qualifiers this year that haven't been under the lights or haven't been in the spotlight. So I think Shane Allison from Valentine would agree. It was a great thing just for the fact that kids were able to work through those nerves. There was a ton of people that came out to watch us versus Valentine in that duel. And the bright lights were on. It got loud. It was back and forth. If a kid walked up to you and told you he wasn't nervous, he was lying. And so for a kid to be able to work through that anxiety, be able to prepare himself and have experience with that, we're a little bit ahead of the game, I feel like, going into the first round of the state tournament.
And as we get ready for state, now you've got 7 seniors, I think, that are making the headlines, if you will, to get ready for this week. What impact do guys like that, where you've got such a great group at the top with in theory, the most experience, what kind of impact do they make on a program like yours?
Huge. These guys are seasoned guys. We've had a lot of success with these guys. They know the work that it takes to have the success, and they're seasoned. They're not coming in at that time they weren't coming in as freshmen or sophomores, and sitting behind a couple guys wrestling JV. They took their bumps and bruises as freshmen and sophomores wrestling varsity, and then now as juniors and seniors, they're really starting to have a lot of success. So yeah, they have been, and kind of it's a little bit different now where we have some studs that are sitting wrestling JV this year that aren't varsity, that aren't going to be as seasoned. This group of seniors has just basically had 4 great seasons of preparation for this tournament, for this season.
Well, let's talk about some of those guys individually. Obviously, like we said, you've got 10 total going off the state and the 7. So kind of introduce us to the scouts this year.
Yeah, you bet. At 106 pounds, we have Seth Biskel, record of 42-3. He's a kid that was actually wrestling behind Lester Palencia last year at 106. He did a ton of work in the off season. Is a very big, strong, physical 6-pounder. He's really had a great year. He's currently rated number 2, and we're really excited about him. He's a very coachable kid, and is hungry. He wants to find success. He has got some good technique, but he's also very physical. So that's Seth at 106 pounds. Lester Palencia at 113 is one of our seniors that you mentioned. 34-8 record. He has really been practicing with some of the best guys for 3 years, with Trent Darrow, with Wyatt Phillips, and now Melvin Hernandez. He has been, practicing with the best guys around on a daily basis, and it's really paid off. Lester's a great kid, very coachable kid, and currently rated 4th. We're hoping that we get every bit of that out of him. And then at 120, we have Trent Darrow. Trent is one of, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 kids ever at David City that's going for his 4th state medal. Placed 3rd as a freshman, 2nd as a sophomore, 5th as a junior, and has had a great year this year. He lost to Monty Mumm from Raymond Central at the very first tournament, and then also lost to Jackson Bates at conference. And then it's kind of funny, at districts he avenged both of those losses. So Trent Darrow's been around the game for a long time. He's a great senior, has had a great year, very disciplined year, probably one of our hardest working guys in practice. And really they've all done great. Wyatt Phillips at 126 pounds is returning state champ. He's currently at 25-0. Really has dominated just about every opponent. I don't know, there's maybe been one match that didn't go that he didn't get a tech fall or a pin. I mean, I think he's had a pretty dominant year. I mean, he wrestled the Miller kid who is from Plainview and ended up pinning him at Stanton, 2-time state champ. He's going for his 3rd as a junior. Wyatt Phillips is very solid. At 132 pounds, we have Melvin Hernandez, placed 5th at state, not where he wanted to finish last year, and has really did a lot of freestyle, and went to Tulsa and did some training camps this summer. Solid kid. He's taken 1 loss on the year to a kid from Gretna, Glendy from Gretna, and just really a solid wrestler in every position. At 152, we have Dustin Papa. He's had a great year. He's a kid that came in as a freshman and took his lumps, and then by the time he's a junior and senior, he's really put in the time and has found, that he's one of those kids that I'll tell stories about for a long time about, where he's come into our program at to where he's left. He's really beat. Came in the season probably rated 2 or 3 and has knocked off both the 2 and number 2 rated guy and the number 1 rated guy throughout the year. Morgan Valentine at 160, another senior for us. He's 38-6, very physical wrestler, out of every position. He wrestles guys and he just flat out wears on them. Strong, physical guy. And that 38-6 is a little deceiving. I would say that his 6 losses come from guys that are rated either 1 or 2 in A, B, C, and D. And he has also beat some of the top guys in some of those classes too. So 38-6, we wrestle such a tough schedule that it may seem like, that's quite a few losses, but he has not lost to anyone, I would say, below a 3rd ranking in any class. 170, Anthony Tebby, he's been a guy that has just worked his tail off in the room for us for 3 years. Couldn't be happier for a guy to qualify for state at 170. He's a senior. He could surprise some people down at the state tournament. He's a big physical kid, fairly strong for a 70-pounder. Ryan Worm at 182. We didn't have the districts we'd like for a couple different reasons, but we're happy with where he's sitting as far as the bracket goes. Ryan comes from a very dated wrestling family. The Worms have been around wrestling for a long time with the Steras. We're excited about Ryan. He's only a junior. Should be going 35 and 6, but again, has wrestled the best out of every class, and Ryan has had a great week of practice. I don't think we had the district tournament we wanted, but we're excited for him at the state tournament. And then last of all is Raymond Fuller at 220 pounds. Raymond, his dad is Chad Fuller, who was the head coach for Syracuse for a number of years, and actually took an assistant principal job up here in David City. 3 losses. He's 1-1 with Hallbeck, the number 1 rated kid in the state. Also a couple other losses. Logan Raddick from Gretna. So Raymond has had a great year this year. And definitely very physical wrestler too. So kind of ran you through all of our 10 qualifiers and what we're hoping to get out of them.
Coach, it's obviously been it's got to be a fun year when you talk about taking 10 guys to Omaha for state. But so far, and hopefully there are many more great memories coming up, but so far, what's the best memory that you'll take away from this team this year?
I would honestly say would probably be at this point the Valentine duel. Earlier in the year, we went up to the Valentine invite and we got beat by Valentine. They wrestled a great tournament. We were just not where we needed to be at that time, and that's okay because that's that time of the year. And then we turned around and dueled them at the Devaney Center and beat them 39-30. We had great support from our community, great support from the wrestling community as a whole. I know there were several other coaches that came down and talked to me from Class C that just wanted to see the 1-2 matchup. Winning that duel, putting kids in the spotlight that haven't been there, haven't been down to the state tournament before, that so far is probably the highlight of our season.
Well, it will be a lot of fun to see what you guys can do coming up this weekend in Omaha. Tahner Theim, the head coach of the David City Scouts wrestling program, thanks so much for joining us on Prep Huddle Live.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We're going to take a real short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk with Jeremiah Dickinson of Central City High School. Prep Huddle Live is brought to you in part by Dickey's Barbecue in York, where right now you can get their delicious catfish specials on Friday during Lent. There they are. $6.99 for the combo, $7.99 for the plate. Don't forget, Dickey's has great catering ideas as well. Call Dickey's Barbecue in York. This is Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com. Home-cooked favorites and online ordering so you can skip the line. That's what you'll find at Dickey's Barbecue in York. Log on to Dickeys.com, select the York address, sign in, or create a profile, and you'll be ordering delicious barbecue in just seconds. Choose from a variety of meats like brisket, pulled pork, chicken breast, or sausage. Add a home-style side like waffle iron fries, fried onion tanglers, barbecue beans, and even fried okra. You won't go away hungry. Try Dickey's Barbecue today and log on to Dickeys.com. Kids eat free on Sundays.
The spirit to be a champion will lead you to success at Truck Center Companies. Dedication, hard work, loyalty. If you possess the qualities of a champion, we'd like to talk to you about scholarship opportunities and a career with us. Truck Center Companies. Champions to the core.
Seedsmanship is what truly sets Channel Seed apart from other seed brands. It's our unmatched ability to provide you with the expert advice and customized service that helps you get the most yield out of your acres. It's the added value of year-round service combined with elite seed products that you only get from Channel Seed. At Channel, we know the importance of staying connected. As seed experts, we look to get the most out of your fields by putting ourselves in them throughout the season. That's seedsmanship at work.
Yeah, I get it. For the little things. Technology's great. It makes things easier. It's faster. We can get things done wherever we go. And we get all that from our bank. It works for us. But for the bigger things, the things that really count, I still want to talk to the people I know and trust. That's why I'm here.
Welcome back to Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com. Joining us now on the Truck Center Company's hotline, we've got Jeremiah Dickinson of Central City High School, the senior this year, taking a 49-0 record into the 138-pound weight class of the Class C tournament. And Jeremiah, first of all, thanks for joining us here tonight. We're a little late because we've had some such great comments and topics, obviously, with state wrestling. But first of all, I wanted to just ask you to talk a little bit about what it means to get back to Omaha, because just because you've been there before doesn't mean you get an automatic trip again. So what's it mean to get back there again for your senior year?
It's a good feeling. I know every year me and my dad have this joke where as I was a returning state medalist my junior year, I got third sophomore, he was always saying, ready to get back on the mat? You're ready to, get back to that Omaha point again? And I said, well, I got to make varsity first. So it's always kind of been a joke between us. And then next step is making weight. So just want baby steps, never looking too far ahead.
Well, that's a good way to go about a lot of things, I think. So that takes a little bit of the next question, though. With third place as a sophomore, runner-up last year, how do those type of performances inspire your off-season workouts? I know you guys got to do a lot during the summer, and obviously you were a big part of the football team that had such a tremendous amount of success this fall as well. So how do past successes and, in some cases, some failures lead you to the off-season in that summer workout?
Well, staying hungry is a model I've kind of gone by these past couple of years, and getting third my sophomore year drove me that I can compete, and I can be there. And coming back my junior year, I certified at 132, and I know Doyle Trout was there at the beginning of the year, and Tyler Bailey, and it was loaded with a bunch of studs. And I told my coach from the very beginning that I was going to go 32, and that's where I went to stay, and I just worked my tail off the whole season and ended up making the finals my junior year. So it's kind of carried over each year, not being that top spot has really driven me to stay hungry and better myself every year.
You guys had a really cool event back there towards the end of January, Pack the Pack Night. You had the duel with Fairbury. And I know there were some guys that didn't wrestle in that on your side, and Fairbury came out with that win. But take us through that experience, because we got to kind of be there, and for those that got to see it on the stream live that night, from a person like myself who has kind of a non-wrestling background until I got into my professional career, it sure looked like it was a really cool event, and to be up on the stage with the lights and the intro music from the stands looked pretty cool. So what was it like from the athlete perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole idea was to promote our sport and to educate people about, what we do. Is wrestling is kind of I would say, a harder sport to understand. And we had a little clinic beforehand. Chuck Shear, our referee that night, went forth with two of our junior wrestlers and did a lot of explaining on points and all that. So just a big promotion to our sport, and it was a cool experience as a wrestler. Though we had the lights off and kind of a light show going on and music playing. So just the whole idea of creating an ecstatic atmosphere while we were wrestling, and we tried to make it parallel to what it would be like if you were running out of the tunnel kind of at state when the lights are on you, and that's kind of what we had going on. So just a, cool feeling of a state atmosphere, loud music and things like that. So.
I want to ask you real quick then, we'll come back to state in a second, but I want you to take us inside the locker room before a tournament. When I played football way back in the day in high school, we always had some loud music, and basketball was a little different, and then golf was something completely different altogether. Take us into a locker room before a tournament, before wrestling. When you guys are trying to get yourselves ready, is it loud and guys are trying to psych each other up, or is it a little more calm and a little more focused? How do you guys go about preparing yourselves?
Well, we at Central City, we're kind of weird. We like our music loud, and we always take long showers and get ready about half hour, 20 minutes before we wrestle. So that's kind of our tradition. I like to be out there, 15, 20 minutes before, getting my running, getting, my mind right. But we like our music loud. We jam out, have our rock sessions, and that's just kind of our tradition through Central City.
So now take us to Omaha, to state, and it's 3 big days, and if you as long as you keep that winning side going, it's a few less matches, but it's such a huge event, and you get to be there, and so many people watching, and then by the time you get to Saturday, you're on TV and you got the spotlights. What is your mindset when you're trying to get ready for a match, and is it difficult to kind of block that out, or do you find it a little easier to focus when it's just the spotlights leading you out there?
Well, I tell you what, when I every year I come to the state meet, I walk out to the first mat I can find, and I pace it. Kind of a little tradition I started as a sophomore, and I've come to the realization that the circle is the same size every year, and the periods are all the same length every year, and my mindset is it's just another faceless opponent. Numbers, rankings, sophomore, freshman, junior, senior, doesn't matter who they are. It's just who wants it more, and that's kind of the mindset I have going out every year, and just preparing myself mentally is just visualizing just another faceless opponent, and I'm there to take what's mine.
Well, it should be a lot of fun to watch you and then all of the Strive kids that'll be wrestling in Omaha later on this week. That is Jeremiah Dickinson of Central City High School. Jeremiah, thanks a lot for taking some time. And
hey, thank you for having me.
And go get them up in Omaha.
You betcha.
All right. Tony, I think we're just about done then for the night. So some final parting thoughts as we get ready to get out of here. We've got a Snapchat giveaway that we want to get to in just a second. But, boy, a lot of fun stuff coming up in the next few days.
Yeah, that was awesome, Jeremiah Dickinson. He's got a pretty good head on his shoulders, Eric. How about that last quote? He said, "The circle is the same size every year." I think he'll be wrestling on Saturday and maybe on the television. That was really good. A fun show. Again, state wrestling, I think, still it comes down to Friday night. Probably one of the greatest atmospheres you'll see in the school year, and then Saturday it should be just a really fun weekend. And of course, it's going to get crazy. The next 4 weeks we'll have state champions in wrestling, swimming, and then girls and boys basketball. The first 2 weekends of March. It should be fun.
All right, and we've got our Snapchat giveaway. We'll see. Do we have?
So we had some fun on Snapchat during the show. This was from Don Dottie.
That doesn't even look
Island,
like it.
right?
It's on top of my head, Don. That doesn't make any sense.
He says, "How about some headgear here or maybe here?" So
And
that is what it's all about on Snapchat. So thanks, Don. I took a screenshot of that and got it into the show.
And now we are in the show. Thank you.
Sorry, Tony. You'll have to watch the recording.
Don is my ex-boss, Taylor, at Boston's.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So that will.
Glad he was listening. That's cool.
I'm sure that will go right up there with the picture of the Kozad haymaker superimposed over me with no other background. It's just me with a haymaker, right here.
We have come a long way.
We have come a long ways since August when we re-upped the show, and it has taken off. So with that, we will see you in Omaha. We will have lots of tweets and updates on Facebook and on Twitter, of course, that we will have, and Snapchat, of course. Don't forget to follow Strive TV on Snapchat. Lots of stuff coming up over the next 3 days with state wrestling, and we will be there to help share the stories of all of our Strive School students. And I think it's 5 pages of first-round matchups is all it did, single-spaced all the way down in the 4 classes.
And we have a surprise guest tweeter tomorrow and throughout the weekend. I'm not going to announce it tonight. He's going to announce it tomorrow for the A and D in the afternoon for sure. He's going to try to get to the B and C. So we're going to have some fun on Twitter. So follow us on there, and it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So join us for state wrestling, and we'll have a new page on StriveSports.com coming up a little bit later tomorrow as we kind of get through the first rounds and let you know how all of the Strive kids are doing. So there's a lot of them when you got 66 schools that you're covering, and we got some teams like David City that have 10 of them heading off to state. We will be busy over the next few days. Thanks for watching us tonight on Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com. We will get you again next Wednesday night from # in Henderson.
Yeah, I get it. For the little things. Technology's great. It makes things easier. It's faster. We can get things done wherever we go. And we get all that from our bank. It works for us. But for the bigger things, the things that really count, I still want to talk to the people I know and trust. That's why I'm here.
Seedsmanship is what truly sets Channel Seed apart from other seed brands. It's our unmatched ability to provide you with the expert advice and customized service that helps you get the most yield out of your acres. It's the added value of year-round service combined with elite seed products that you only get from Channel Seed. At Channel, we know the importance of staying connected. As seed experts, we look to get the most out of your fields by putting ourselves in them throughout the season. That's seedsmanship at work. Home-cooked favorites and online ordering so you can skip the line. That's what you'll find at Dickey's Barbecue in York. Log on to dickeys.com, select the York address, sign in, or create a profile, and you'll be ordering delicious barbecue in just seconds. Choose from a variety of meats like brisket, pulled pork, chicken breast, or sausage. Add a home-style side like waffle iron fries, fried onion tanglers, barbecue beans, and even fried okra. You won't go away hungry. Try Dickey's Barbecue today and log on to dickeys.com. Kids eat free on Sundays.
The spirit to be a champion will lead you to success at Truck Center Companies. Dedication, hard work, loyalty. If you possess the qualities of a champion, we'd like to talk to you about scholarship opportunities and a career with us. Truck Center Companies. Champions to the core.